And we're back. We're gonna do this again. Another day, another donut. This week we're hooked up to the step deck. I had a reason to use it over the weekend, so I figured rather than move things around, I'll just keep it. We're gonna head back up to Tacoma with a 60-foot long load. Going to see if we can find some step deck freight coming back. It'd be nice. Cool, we'll see you over at the plant. My name is Jupiter. I drive a truck. I own the truck I drive, and that's why I called my company Jupiter Trucking. Join me, and I'll take you along on some of the different things I end up doing to make a buck with a truck. I like to put a 4x4 up here. Helps the joist clear these ramps. And then I carry my own dunnage for the ramp, so you don't damage that. Takes a little more work to set up, but it gives you a little more versatility and some more options for a reload. And that's what I'm hoping for. Oh, it's Brody. All right, I just booked a load out of Tacoma going to Boise. Hopefully I can find something out of Boise back into Reno. We'll see. Morning, here we go. We've got a 60-foot long load of joists, about 10-foot overhang and a couple inches. We are going to take this up to Tacoma. I loaded it yesterday. No sense in leaving last night. I can get pretty darn close in one day, in 11 hours. Pretty darn close. And then I'll just make up the rest in the morning. Get to the job site nice and early. The weather is going to be fine. You don't have to worry about that. Pretty dry out here this year so far, and cold. But we're going to head up to Winnemucca and take the back road. Really? I just had a house pull out in front of me. If that doesn't happen every day. Decided I'm gonna put my lights on right now. I've stopped for fuel. I'm gonna need them later tonight, so I might as well just get it over with. I made these out of conveyor belt and then drilled holes in them and bolted little lights to them. And then I use an extension cord to plug it into the trailer. They're flexible. You can hook them with bungees. And other than the lights burning out or the wires breaking, they never break. They're just cheap extension cords you can get at the hardware store for a couple dollars. I got a few 20-footers, a few 8-footers. Positive and negative. Pretty easy. Down here, I have an outlet that I wired into the tail lights. And I just plug them in. I run the wire up from there. Plugged in down here. Run it up this way, up into the load. Weave it in and out through the webbing. And plug these in. Just like that. That stays. So I'm good for lights. I don't have to do that later. And here I am, cruising along out in the boonies, minding my own business, when a tire on an oncoming truck blew and tried to take me out along with it. Thank God for my cat-like reflexes that allowed me to avoid any damage. All right, quick stop to do some checking here. Make sure these lights are on and working. Everything's cool there. Everything's cool here. It looks like I have one light out, but that's why I have two. Look at that sunset. We made it. GC's is one of my favorite places to stop at because there's always plenty of room, especially if you've got a long or oversized load. They've got good food, clean showers, and I love a dirt lot. That's just my style. When you can't get into a traditional parking spot or squeeze into a rest area, this is what you need. Plenty of room to back in. I was still about an hour from the job site the next morning, but this crew works fast, so I wasn't worried about a few trucks being ahead of me. Plus, it gave me time to fly the drone around a little and check it out. I'm not sure who this building is being put up for, and the walls aren't set yet, but you can see all of the panels are on the ground and ready to be tilted up. That's why they call these buildings tilt-ups, because they pour the concrete walls on the slab, then tilt them up and put a roof on it. On most big jobs in Washington, all trucks must use what's called a wheel wash when they leave the job site. So hey, free truck wash. Sort of. Just 20 minutes away at the port of Tacoma is my next load, 2 pieces of a large tower crane. Fresh off the boat and headed to what will be a big job in Boise. On another note, I just booked a step deck only load out of Boise going back to Carson City, right next door to home. The plan with the step deck trailer this week has worked. We're loaded. These guys are moving today. That was fast. So I had to use straps on this because there's really no eye holes to put chains without really messing up the paint. So I used some straps on this one. You know, the little short chains with chain straps, if you want to call them. But I love these little tools. These things are awesome. Not a bad looking load, matches the truck. A green light at the scales in Washington and a green light at the scales in Oregon, plus 4 sets of closed scales, means we made it to Boise. Another successful day of trucking. I don't generally like to park in truck stops. Sometimes you have to. This will be 2 nights in a row. But when I do, I try to find an empty spot on the back row as far away from people as I can. So at least tonight, I'm next to an empty trailer, so that should be quiet. And I'm far enough away from the Swift truck that I should be safe. And we've got a crane appointment to unload crane pieces tomorrow morning. So we'll get back at it then. Now, I think I'll go inside where it's warm.
I think there's 54 loads here, if I'm not mistaken.
From the port.
Yes,
Wow.
all this comes from Europe.
And it's going to be at the hospital job?
Yeah, at St. Luke's here in Boise. 3 to 5 year project.
3 to 5 years?
3 to 5.
Is it a
Well,
remodel?
it's 5, obviously.
Yeah, right. Is it a remodel
It's
or?
kind of a building a new hospital. For a huge addition. And then after that, we'll see what I think they're probably gonna redo the old part.
2 of these are tower cranes and 2 or one is
All 3 tower cranes, 2 of them are flat tops and 1 is a luffer.
luffer,
Yeah.
the one where it just goes up and down.
The boom raises and lowers. A little bit of dough sitting here.
Just a little bit. Hope they pay their bills, right?
Yeah, we don't get money until we get them on the job, so.
That's why
We're
you
anxious.
start moving them tomorrow, you said?
A week from tomorrow.
A week from tomorrow. Our next adventure, just 20 minutes from the crane adventure. This looks like it. This is my load. 6 trailers. 7, 8 trailers, 9 trailers. Loaded. These aren't terribly hard to haul, but they're a little complicated because you sure don't want to see one come flying off the trailer and go bouncing down the road behind you. So it's a little time consuming, but it looks good. And it ain't going anywhere. And just like I'd hoped, nothing fell off and I made it all the way home just a couple hours after dark. Unloading these can be a little time consuming, just like loading. The forklift here is a little smaller than the one where I loaded and can't pick up the whole stack at once. So we've got to figure out how to pull them apart without denting or scratching anything. Bob, if you're watching, they're going to call you and ask you to put it together a little differently for them next time. That, as they say, is that. Good guys here, that didn't go too bad. I've got an hour drive home, a weekend's worth of work to do, service on the truck, all kinds of other goodies. And I appreciate you coming along. See you next week. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Whenever I leave the yard, something different's going on, and I have no way of knowing what's waiting around the next corner. So if you'd like to see more trucking stories and adventures, go ahead and subscribe. That'll notify you when a new video is posted, and it'll keep me grabbing the camera whenever I see something to share. In the meantime, keep the bugs off your glass and the bears off your ass. Catch you on the flip-flop.